Hello, how are you? Mr. Glenn again. I'm going to be reading something to you. I find it quite interesting. It's called Pedal Power. Bicycles. People pedaling on bicycles. And it's very interesting. I learned quite a bit from it. It said, today, if you visit the city of Amsterdam in the Netherlands, he says, you see people on bicycles buzzing about everywhere. Over canal bridges, down streets, to schools, to work, to shops, to visit friends, all kinds of bikes. Thousands of bikes, more bikes than cars. Amsterdam is known for the worldwide as the capital city of cycling. Cycling is another word for riding a bike. Cars and trucks are allowed on the streets, but they have to drive careful. Bikes rule the road. Okay, bikes rule the world. All the road over there now, that's pedal power. Says, but it wasn't long ago like that. In the 1970s, Amsterdam, most big cities had a lot of vehicle traffic, and the roads were starting to become too dangerous for cycling. So, how did Amsterdam become the bike capital of the world? Well, it took some very special people to make that change. Young moms like Majet Rutten and her friends and their children. Every day, Majet and her son saw fine old buildings being destroyed to make way for gigantic highways. Extra wide streets, long dark tunnels were built for all of the new traffic, but there was no space for bicycles. Crossing the huge busy roads by bicycle became an impossibility. Taking a bike to school or work or to visit friends was dangerous to do. Said, something's wrong, said Margette. The road belonged to all of us, not just cars and trucks. Her friends agreed. Cities like Amsterdam need bikes. They need bikes. Everyone began to speak up. Word got around and people started protesting, not just in Amsterdam, but all over the Netherlands. All over the Netherlands. Said, at first, demonstrations were great fun. People had parties in the middle of the road. Give back us our streets, they cried. Crowds gathered outside the Dutch Prime Minister's house. They chanted songs and called for change. Children band together and proclaimed that some roads should be closed to make streets a play. Televisions and newspapers. Reporters loved all these stories. He says the protesters seemed like it was fun. Then one terrible day, a different story appeared in the news. A young girl going to school had been killed by a car. The child's father, Vic Langenhoff, was a newspaper reporter, and he wrote something that hardly anyone would believe. This year, 500 children have been killed on the roads of our country. Many of them were riding bikes. It was true, the situation was deadly serious. Something had to be done. Now, everyone was angry. The march got noisier. More and more people came out on the streets to demand safe places to walk and cycle. Meanwhile, the drivers were angry too. This country was running out of fuel, and the government announced a new regulation: no cars in Amsterdam on Sunday. So they had a problem. And that gave Margette an incredible idea. We'll cycle through the big new tunnel. We'll show them, she said. But it's against the law. The tunnel is only for cars, her friends cried. That's exactly the problem, said Margette. We need to take back the roads. The streets of Amsterdam were silent when Margette, her friends, and their children gathered at the mouth of the tunnel. We can't, someone said. Who knows what will happen to us? So they were scared. Understandable. But Margette was determined. Let's do it. Today's the day, she shouted, and they all set off into the darkness. The sound of the bicycle bells echoed off the tunnel wall. Down, 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 and along they went. They cried, pedal power, pedal power. As they rode towards the brightness of the other end, they saw police and flashing lights ahead, warning them. It's the cops, someone said. Let's turn back. Keep going, said Margette. She stood up on her pedals and pushed on. The police had blocked the road. This is a car-only tunnel, they shouted. You cyclists have broken the law. The officers lifted up the children and their little bikes and put them into police cars. It's just not safe, they said. It's just not safe. Back at the police station, everyone was served lemonade and cookies. That's strange, said Margette. And she noticed the police were smiling a little bit. That wasn't so bad. Maybe all of the protesting's working as she thought. And she was quite right. That day was just the beginning. Margette and her friends came up with lots of good ideas to allow bikes, people in cars, to share the streets peacefully. They proposed special bike lanes on busy routes, traffic bumps and curves in the road to slow down vehicles. The new law gives bikes the right of way all over cars. And finally, people listened. Amsterdam led the way, and that's why it's the bike capital of the world. I didn't know that. I didn't know that Amsterdam was the bike capital of the world. Today we see these ideas at work all over Tokyo, New York City, and all over China. I've been to New York City. There's a lot of bikes up there. The city of Paris, France, has 18,000 bikes available for people to share. London, England, has 8,000 bikes. The United States, Chicago has nearly 5,000 available. And Shanghai, China, offers 50,000 for visitors and residents to ride. And cycling keeps you fit. It's a bike. And they're quiet. It takes up less road space. And of course, it doesn't pollute the air. And a bike doesn't need fuel, only legs. And what happened to Marzette Rudin? Well, today her name is Marzette Van Putten. And you can see her when wheeling around in the streets of Amsterdam on her bike. Now that's pedal power. So, I hope you enjoyed it. I did. It was a very nice little book, and I've learned some stuff from it. I hope you did too. Bye.